It is AM 1160, FM 101.1. Bob Lankert is with us this morning. That must mean we're talking about the Evergreen Conservancy. And Bob, you brought a guest with you, David Janetski. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us here today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about something that the Evergreen Conservancy has been doing since November. We started the Indiana County geocache, and this has succeeded beyond all expectations. Now, to know what a geocache is, you'd have to know what a geocache is. It's a worldwide hide-and-seek game, high technology, with using the internet. There are things hidden in the middle of a national forest, in the middle of downtown Paris. And our Geo Trail emphasizes several things, and we have things hidden in 20 different sites throughout the county. And Blue Spruce Park or Yellow Creek Park or places that we have things hid. And for a person to find something, they would need a GPS device or a smartphone that's keyed in a certain way. And in order to do that, you'd need to pick up a passport, like at the library or the Tourist Bureau, Blue Spruce Park, Yellow Creek Park, and that would tell you about 20 different sites where this is going on. And during the deepest of winter, we would get 20 hits of people that were out looking for these things out in these natural areas. And there's going to be coming up an event on Saturday, May the 12th, where at Yellow Creek Environmental Center, we're going to give an introduction to geocaching and the Geo Trail. So that's the big thing that we're doing right now.
So that's coming up, and someone wants to learn more or participate in it. What do they need to do? They need to
they need to take some sort of GPS device, a smartphone or GPS tool, to Yellow Creek Park on Saturday the 12th at 1 o'clock.
They need to sign up ahead of time, or they can just go?
I think they can just go.
They can just go.
Yes.
Terrific. Geocaching. A lot of people are having fun with that.
Yes.
A lot of hiking involved and a little detective work as well. So that sounds like a good time. Now, for something completely different, David Janetski is with us this morning as well. Good morning.
Morning.
It's good to have you with us here today. So we talk about something which is one of the high holy days in all of Pennsylvania. Trout fishing is ready to begin on April the 14th, right? That's first day?
Yep, that's right. That's opening day of trout.
What a big day that is across Pennsylvania. Man, oh man. But you're more than concerned with just trout. You've got salmon on the mind too, huh?
Right. So I'm giving a talk here on April 13th. It's a Friday, 7 p.m. at Blue Spruce Lodge. So I'll be talking about trout and salmon in Pennsylvania. So I'm a fish ecologist by training, and so one of the interesting things about Pennsylvania is we have some coastline that's on the Great Lakes, and we have inland fishery for trout, and so we have kind of this combination of the big lake fishing, and then we have inland trout fishing. So I'll be covering issues related to the Great Lakes, such as invasive species, salmon stocking, steelhead, things like that. I'm going to kind of explain some of the research I've done related to those fish species when I lived out in Michigan. And then I'm going to transition and talk about some of the research I'm doing currently with the Fish and Boat Commission to survey streams throughout Pennsylvania for brook trout.
Yeah. Now that's two entirely different disciplines, isn't it? Not just the fact of lake fishing, but the issues that are involved with, say, making a trip up to Erie and seeing the way ecologically that Lake Erie relates to the rest of the Commonwealth, as opposed to stream fishing around these parts for trout.
Right. Two pretty different things. So I'm gonna attempt to cover those in my talk. But I think a lot of the fishermen, recreational fishermen around here are pretty well versed in both of those areas. So there's a lot of folks from Indiana County that I know go fish for steelhead in Erie pretty regularly. And then, the next weekend they might hang around here and fish for trout in some of the local streams. And so I think I think the things I cover are going to be kind of a broad interest.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and it sounds like it's just going to be a fascinating talk for those who are really into to the fishing universe. And it happens on the day before trout season starts. What are some of the issues in lakes and well, particularly creeks and streams around these areas that people might say, okay, I go out and I fish, and that's what I do. But there are things that enable those fish to actually be swimming there for them to catch.
Right, and so that's probably a good question leading into the some of the stuff I've been involved with the Fish and Boat Commission. There's a big program that's been going on for about 7 or 8 years called the Unassessed Waters Initiative. So a lot of people don't realize that Pennsylvania actually has more miles of stream than any state except Alaska. Has over 85,000 miles of stream. And a lot of those stream miles have never been surveyed before. There's so many that biologists just don't have time to get around and survey all of them. Mm-hmm. So this Unassessed Waters program has basically been involved with contracting different institutions, universities, other partners to go out and survey these previously unassessed streams. And so I've been involved with that for the last 3 years. It's been really great. Exciting work. We go out to streams that nobody's ever surveyed before, and I get to take students, and it's a great experience for them. And we get to generate information that really helps, the state agencies, the Fish and Boat Commission, provide proper protections for those streams if there are brook trout populations. Brook trout. For anyone out there who doesn't know why do brook trout matter? So they're the state fish of Pennsylvania. They're a really common, popular sport fish, and I just think they're a really beautiful fish. If that's something that's important to you. So it's it's nice to be involved with a program that generates information that's actually leading to important conservation
measures that are taken.
Yeah.
And Bob, through the Evergreen Conservancy that there are streams that they might be surveying now for the first time ever that had they been in those streams 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, there wouldn't have been a fish there.
There wouldn't have been, and they're finding native trout in a number of these little streams, and in some of them they find brook trout, some of them they find brown trout, and they're not mixed, and it's just interesting that native trout are beginning to show up in our streams.
Yeah, and with Evergreen Conservancy being so concerned about the quality of the waters around, to see those streams come back to life, it just has to be very heartening for you.
That's one of the signs that a stream has been improved.
Yeah,
that there are trout and fish there.
Yeah, and the rocks aren't orange anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
which is very good. David, one of the things that have become an issue for streams all across western Pennsylvania is farm erosion and making sure that we're keeping the manure and the farm products out of the streams. And I know that a lot of hard work's going into that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. So one of the most, actually, it's not just western Pennsylvania, one of the most widespread problems for stream fish in general has to do with erosion and runoff from not just farms but roads. Anywhere where you have any kind of development, you get a lot of little fine silts and things washing into the stream, and that creates a problem for the habitat.
And especially right now with the winter, all of the salt from the roads that eventually makes its way into the water system.
Yep, that can be a problem as well. You mentioned farming earlier, so one of the interesting ways that streams and lakes are connected is when you have a lot of agriculture happening. You have the excess fertilizers run off into the streams. Those eventually make their way down to the lakes, and that's where you get increases in nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, and you have these big algal blooms, which have been such a big problem in places like Lake Erie. And so that's one of the ways that human activity connects with streams and with lakes, and so it's all connected.
Yeah.
Dave, I have a question. Are your grandkids going to be able to fish?
I hope so. Yes. I'm quite confident they will be able to fish.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, certainly with the streams coming back the way that they are, then obviously vigilance needs to be a whole part of the program here to make sure that those streams remain viable that more and more of them come back. And certainly we'll be watching that over the years as they unfold, and Evergreen Conservancy will be right there helping them to make their way back into viability. So we're looking forward to that. So, David, your event is on April the 13th, Friday before trout season starts.
Correct. Yep.
Time and place again?
7 p.m., Blue Spruce Lodge. Yep.
Very
That's where
good.
we'll be.
And, Bob, the geocaching event is at Yellow Creek, correct?
At Yellow Creek Environmental Center, May 12th at 1 o'clock.
All right. Very good. And registration's not required for either of those events.
No.
Yeah.
Show up and have a good time.
Okay.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in this morning to talk with us about it. Evergreen Conservancy doing good work, again, as always, around these parts. It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank. It's WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. Tomorrow, interesting things coming up. Dave Fairman will be with us from Indiana Borough. He's going to be talking about the street projects, the paving that is coming up, and the community center building across the way where the ongoing renovations are, well, ongoing. And also, I will have Travis and George Nace come in. They've got a great idea that is going to help the Teddy Bear Fund Drive. And if you're a Pirate fan, you'll want to know about it. So they'll be visiting with us, too.